with the Spade arc just now wrapping up in Black Clover and us about to be on this like 3 month hiatus, I thought this would be the perfect time to give my complete thoughts on the Spade arc as a whole. Now, that would take a really long time, so I'm probably going to split this video up into a couple of different parts. I'm definitely going to do like the good, the bad, and my overall thoughts. This first one, I'm going to try to wrap up everything good that I did like about the Spade Kingdom arc, as well as like things that I thought really worked and that were great for the series. And then I'll do the other stuff in the next video. But for now, this one is going to be the good. I'll try to not like make it super long, but do keep in mind there is a lot to cover in these like 100 or so chapters. One of the things that the Spade arc did really well was the beginning, like coming off of the 6 month time skip, seeing like Asta's new design and him destroying that like fortress, just kind of seeing him use like new abilities as well as like the Black Divider just like effortlessly. Like the Spade arc started really good. Like all that stuff was amazing. I thought in terms of like shonen, it was a really good intro after a time skip. Whereas like some series start off a little bit slow after some time has passed. I feel like Black Horse started off like amazing, and then leading directly into that, getting introduced to like our first main threat being the Dark Triad. Now, as for what they ended up being, that's definitely going to be saved for another video. But as far as what they were meant to be and what they did, I actually liked them for like what they were supposed to be, because they handed our group a lot of necessary L's. Like, so when you think of Yuno as a character at this point in the series, Yuno had like legit like never lost. Like like he almost lost to Mars, but he didn't. He clapped Catherine, was a monster in Kaiten, was absolutely balling in the Magic Knight exam. He beat Real in there, was beastly throughout the entire Elf arc. Like, had legit not lost going up to this point, unless you count the stuff with Ravici in chapter 1, but we don't count the stuff with Ravici in chapter 1. But getting his first real taste of defeat from Xenon and losing half of the Golden Dawn, I feel like it was sad and all, but it was a really good moment for Yuno's character and was like instrumental in his growth later on in the series. And then same thing for Asta and Noelle. Granted, Asta and Noelle aren't really the same as in that aspect, as like throughout their character arcs and their own stories, they have had hardships and have lost in fights and have had hard times. So they didn't really need it as much as say did, but just seeing all of our main group like taking a collective L and not being able to beat these overwhelming threats was nice to see. And then with the Dark Triad, it wasn't like they were the elves. Were the elves, they were evil, but they felt kind of justified in a sense of they had a reason to be evil. Like they felt wronged 500 years ago, and then we find out the whole thing where it was framed. So them being evil made sense because it was kind of justified. It was kind of like a redeemably evil kind of thing. Whereas the Dark Triad, they had their own selfish goal. It wasn't like a revenge tale or something that was kind of redeemable. It was just all the way bad. So like I kind of really did like that we finally got a true evil villain outside of Zagreus, outside of Zagreus, of course, but we got a true evil villain. Not to mention in the fights with the Dark Triads, getting to see like a lot of the new moves. Like we didn't get to see much from because he didn't have as extensive training. But like Noelle, her combination spell with Laura Petchka with her mermaid form, that was really hype. A lot of the Heart Kingdom fights were really dope. Like Luck using like his true magic Ceranos, like Leo and the Crimson Eruption, like that stuff was absolutely amazing. You're getting to see like some of the side characters and their new attacks and their like new moves. Asta having a rage form versus Dante, the whole fight of Asta and Yami versus Dante was really hype. Granted, it was kind of bogged down by being like by a lot of that's happening during the COVID time. So if you were reading it weekly, there was like an extra break in between it, so it kind of made it feel like it dragged a little bit. But like rereading it like when it's happening a lot faster, like in volume form or at actually like a weekly pace, felt amazing. It felt really good. So that fight was hype. And then after all that, we have one of the best characters that Tabata has put in this series by far. We have Noct. Everything about Noct's character is really dope, to be honest. So like his backstory is really good. His character growth throughout the Spade arc, from the person he was in the beginning to who he kind of becomes towards the end. Granted, he hasn't fully like forgiven himself for the stuff that went down with like Morgan and all that, but we do see towards the very end of the arc that he is willing to like allow himself to live with the Black Bulls and all that kind of stuff. So that is growth. That does count for something. So like Noct's character arc is amazing. Not to mention Noct's power, all of his different Devil Union forms, and now his like combination Devil Union forms all have fire designs. It looks amazing. Like Noct is definitely one of the cooler characters that Tabata has just ever made. Period. Like he's like it's almost like Noct became a lot of what I wanted Zora to be. If almost like if we could get some more Zora screen time. But like Noct was just he's just a cool character. Like he wants to do the right thing. He's trying to make up for his past. Like there's not really much bad I could honestly say about Noct as a character. And then from there, I did want to talk about the first round of Dark Triad fights, like the ones where we had the captains going up against them. So like the fight with Charlotte and Real versus Vanica, I really like that a lot because I felt like Charlotte was one of the characters that like she had some shine, but I definitely feel like she could have definitely got some more. So I was happy to see her get like a new form with her Queen of Briars and all that and put in work against Vanica. Jack had already had a lot of screen time, I felt like, in the Elf arc, or not like a lot, but he definitely had more than a lot of other captains, seeing as he didn't turn into an elf. So it was cool to see like some of Jack's backstory. I didn't expect to get any of that, getting to see like how he was when he was a kid and getting to see his dad and kind of where he all started from, and then him doing his thing against Dante. I did enjoy that. And then, of course, you know, the beginning of the Yuno and Xenon fight, seeing how Yuno did make some progress in those 3 days and train and all that, and, you know, get more, I guess, spirit forms. Or not really spirit forms. I guess it's Spirit of Zephyr and Spirit of Boar. So yeah, kind of, yeah, I guess some more like spirit forms or more versions of his spirit dive to use against Xenon was really dope to see as well. And then actually getting to see the Dark Triad complete their goal. Like, granted, it wasn't their full main goal, but like the first part of their goal would be opening the Triad Cliff off to at least get to their 100% was hyped to see because the designs were really dope. I personally enjoyed how the designs looked. And then kind of getting into the round 2 of all of the fights with other characters stepping in to kind of clean up for him, like Noelle showing up to just absolutely clap Vanica with her spirit dive. That was absolutely hype. Then getting to see Magna and Dante. Now this is going to be one of the ones that I'm going to talk about in both videos because there's good and bad here. I'm not going to talk about the bad because the bad is going to be for the other video, but there is good and bad here. Like I really did enjoy, or I guess the parts I really did enjoy is what all this meant for Magna as a character, because Magna as a character got left behind in the dust so long ago. It was like in the Elf arc when that was like that was it for him. Like he really wasn't a factor back then, but he was at least able to help. But ever since then, he had got left in the dust. So him coming up with a way to stay useful in fights, like, you know, training with Zora, getting that little bit of backstory to show that he was there when Dante and Xenon had, you know, taken Yami away, just really getting like a lot of those driving themes for him, and then actually getting to see all of his hard work come to fruition, and then him actually take down Dante, an opponent that it took Yami and Noct to beat, and he technically beat a stronger version of it. And then his spell was cool, the Soul Chain Deathmatch, like it makes sense, it is a cool ability. So that stuff for Magna's character, I think this was an amazing moment for Magna's character. And then the stuff with the Twin Devils, getting to see Asta's Devil Union in full display. Granted, we did get to see him save the Clover King with it, but actually getting to see him, like, you know, showcase a lot of his different sword abilities in Devil Union against the Twin Devils was hype. Actually getting to see the Twin Devils was pretty cool too. Like getting to see actual, you know, a devil from the Tree of Cliffoff come out and, you know, be around and see how powerful they are, and see just how much of a massive wall that was for a character like Noct that was, you know, arguably pretty strong. I'd argue Noct is pretty strong. So, you know, you get characters that can just ragdoll him. I feel like that definitely speaks for something in terms of how like powerful and how much they should be like kind of feared. And getting to see Asta show up, save Noct, and then clap these guys was hype. Like seeing him swat back the giant sunball thing or whatever, the freezing sun, that was hype. And then while the stuff going on with Dante and the Twin Devils was hype, I really did like the more of the second half of the Vanica fight that turned out to be against Majecula. Like getting to see the amount of teamwork that it took to go in and defeat her, like getting to see like all these people working together. Like we had like Noelle, Asta showed up, Real, Charlotte, Luck, Gaza. Like it was so many people involved in that fight. It gave me those Zagreus vibes where like it took a huge group to beat him and everybody had to work together and do their like thing. Real getting the, you know, the the Twilight of Valhalla to make them invincible and buff them. That was mad hype. You know, him getting Gaja back up, like the whole Gaja and Luck panel of those two charging through all those demons or devils together. That was like one of the best panels of the Spade arc, like hands down. That is probably one of the best panels in the entire arc, like for sure. Actually getting to see Majecula's character, because so far in terms of Devil, she's actually very different, because she isn't like kill, destroy, and all of that. Like, she actually has a bit of thoughts. Like, she finds humans curious. Like, she's just overall very different from, say, the twin devil Zagrid, or from Lucifaro. Like, she's like, seeing something a bit different was kind of a breath of fresh air, and she was really powerful. And then her whole plan of, you know, once she gets her 3 souls, she's gonna fully manifest, and she needs, you know, the other 2 being Vanica and Laura Petchka to fully manifest. Like, it was just interesting. Like, her whole thing was very interesting. And then getting to see Nozel drop down and getting that full backstory of how he couldn't really talk about it because he was also cursed because he was there, and just really having the whole Silva, I guess all of the Silva stuff that doesn't come full circle, because we still don't know about, you know, Noel's dad, and then we still have to have Solid and Nebra know about all this and them have their conversation with Noel. But just getting to see the stuff between Acier, Nozel, and Noel all kind of wrap up together in one moment with dealing the final blow to Majecula was really nice to see. Like, I thought it wrapped up really, really well. And then obviously the best fight out of the Triad fights, for sure, I don't think anybody would disagree with that, would be the fight between Yuno and Xenon. Now, I've already done a whole video on Xenon and kind of breaking down like his character and stuff, but Xenon was definitely the most bland of the Dark Triad until this fight happened, and it propelled him way beyond Dante and Vanica. Because the back and forth between Yuno and Xenon, them kind of clashing their ideals, and even getting more of Yuno fleshed out, it was definitely like some of the best writing that Tabata has done for this entire arc, for sure, with how he handled these 2 characters and this fight. Them constantly like one-upping each other and powering up back and forth, just getting all these random boosts. It was really hype to see. And then getting to see Xenon's backstory, seeing, you know, him interact with, you know, Dante and Vanica, seeing that he had a friend named Alan, similar to Asta and Yuno. Like, just those parallels made that fight so much better, leagues better than anything else that had happened in the other Dark Triad fights. And that's saying something, because I really did like the Noel, Nozel, and the Majecula one. I really did like that one. But the Xenon one and the Yuno one was just, it was on another level. It was just it was unmatched. So then also seeing the, you know, realizing his true self and getting the second grimoire, then that was ultimately what kind of put him over the, well, it was him getting Saint Stage that ultimately put him over the edge. But the second grimoire was also just, that was just crazy. Like, him getting his true, you know, Spade Kingdom grimoire, inheriting Star Magic, it was hyped. Like, that you really can't get any better than that in Black Clover, in my honest opinion. And then the stuff between, you know, the very ending of the Tree of Cliff-Off with, like, you know, Morris accelerating the gate and like a Dreamlight coming out, but then, you know, Lucifaro manifests all at the same time. I kind of liked how that felt in the moment for the stakes. I definitely have my opinions on Morris. That's definitely not going to be in this video, so you have to look forward to the next one for that one. But the stuff with Lucifaro first manifesting, I actually thought was really good. I've said it before, I didn't care for his dialogue, but in the beginning, Lucifaro was an absolute menace. Like, him rolling through all of the captains really did instill a lot of fear. Him one-shotting Austin in the very beginning, like, Austin got punched one time. Like, he caught Austin's sword and punched him one time, and Austin was dazed and confused. Like, he didn't know what was going on. So Lucifaro in the beginning was essentially everything I wanted him to be. He really was, in terms of just like, he was just this unstoppable force. People couldn't see him at all. Like, he was just he came out and just flattened everybody. I really couldn't ask for too much more when it came to Lucifaro. The stuff with Yami and Noct together, I did enjoy that. Getting to see those two fight together and then getting some flashbacks of their past, that stuff I really like. That was just one of like the little personal things that I wanted, because I had been wanted those two to fight together, so actually getting to see them do a little something together, I did enjoy that a lot. Mereoleona being absolutely beastly, like her solidifying her spot as the strongest captain with how well she did against with how well she did in the entire fight. can't be mad at that at all. That was also really hype. The moments of her and Yuno, like I guess just those two going against him, while all the other captains were down, was absolutely hype. Even the stuff with Asta, granted, I did have a lot to say about it in the moment when it was happening, when it was going weekly. But like after like rereading it and reading it like up to 331, there were parts about it that I did like, and the whole flashback between Asta, like actually getting to know for a fact that Asta now knows about his mom, being able to see the memories of her through Libby. I do like that because it's like a nice touch. Granted, Asta was never the kind of character that like really longed for having his real parents or anything. Like he wasn't like a Naruto-esque character in that sense where he truly just wanted to know his parents really bad. But him getting, I guess, closure for something that he didn't know he kind of needed is kind of nice. It's like a nice little touch at the very end, in my opinion. And then obviously the whole big scheme mastermind with like Lucius and all of that. Definitely, that has so much potential. It just has absolutely so much potential for what it could mean for the future of Black Clover after we get back from the 3 month hiatus. After we get back from the 3 month hiatus, because there were definitely some down moments in the Spade Kingdom, but there were a lot of good moments. But some of the down moments were kind of dragging it down. But ending the arc on that kind of note with that kind of setup definitely saved the arc as a whole, in my opinion. It wasn't nearly as bad as I feel like a lot of people may have been making it out to be, but it was definitely not like trending that well until that happened. So, but I am really hyped to see where Tabata does go with all of this in the future. But overall, those are, I guess, the main ones that stuck out to me that I wanted to talk about and just really revisit, because I felt like a lot of those were some of Black Clover's stronger moments in the Spade arc. I'm pretty sure there's some that I didn't mention that may have been some other people's favorites. If I didn't mention yours, I am curious to know what was a moment in the Spade Kingdom arc that you really liked, or you thought was a moment of like amazing writing that you felt deserved to be mentioned, but I just didn't mention it for whatever reason or another. I definitely am curious to know what ones I could have missed down below. But aside from that, keep a lookout for the next video. I want to get the next one out later on this week, if at all possible, especially since there's not a chapter next week. So I want to get the next one out. The next one's going to be about all of the bad stuff. So that one, ooh, that one's going to be a trip. So yeah, but yeah, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe so you guys can be notified for that next one to come out. You guys all enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all in that next video.